Well, welcome everyone to part 4 of Jim, Harry, and Gervin's book club. We are pleased to continue this series. It's been very easy for Jim and I to do this series. We've had no prep, and we don't actually need prep because the stories are meant to be taught coming from the inside out, just flowing naturally. And the more natural the teacher shares, the easier the students learn. This story is called, part 4 is called The Lion and the Hare. And this story was picked by me for various reasons. But the primary reason was I wanted a story that would attract the young kids, 5, 6 years old, and 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 also would be very easy for the teachers to teach. And I picked this story. Interestingly, Jim, it is the most popular story in Africa for African kids. And at the same time, it wasn't written by an African. It was written by an Indian from India. And so, but this story captured the imagination of the kids, and it also captured my imagination. And so I included it in the book. And it is probably the story that when teachers teach, they remember the most. So when Martha was asked in Germany, when she was sharing that with the German people, they asked her to tell a story from Hare series, and this is the story she picked. And it was very easy for her to describe and so on. The story, to me, had great symbolism because to me, the world is kind of like the lion, Donald Trump type of guy, where it forces you to do things. And you, as the hare, have to go inside into a feeling within and brainstorm your way out of something that has been created that is a difficult situation. This is life. Life is sweet. Life is bitter. And when life is bitter, we have to accept that and we have to solve the problem, which, by the way, Hassan, takes us deeper into ourselves. So the solving of problems turns out that it takes us out of our head and out of the illusions that just God is going to take care of everything. It creates the understanding that we are participating with God, and sometimes we have to use our brains and our good ideas to solve problems. It is just normal. Jim right now is going to paint his house. I guarantee you there'll be problems. Something will go, and already the weather is not accommodating it. So he is adjusting his thinking to that scenario that he wants to solve. That is life. And in this particular case, it's a story, Jim, that also has other interesting sidebars. One of our leaders, one of our team members, was very adamant that that this story had to be taken out. From his perspective, the killings and stuff was he could not accept that from his perspective. And I had to fight in a way to keep the story in. I did it because I believed in the story, and I also believed that the African people wanted this story to be in. It's the same way, Jim, when my daughter insisted that I could not write the Hare series because it's a white man writing about an African people. But it turned out that the African people wanted to read stories about African people, not about white people. So you're always going to be challenged in life to who you are. And to me, this story has many, many beautiful 3P ramifications. And with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to my co-host here, the infamous, wonderful voice of Jim Bent.
You didn't leave me much to talk about there, Harry. But there's a couple of things that I can point out about the story. They seem obvious, and yet I was working with a group in a school in Africa, and one of the teachers they had already addressed this story, and his question was, well, what has this story got to do with the three principles? And that was a darn good question. Um, so I did this. I went quiet, and I waited for my answer to come. It didn't take long, and it came right. It came right up. The hare in the story is the one who has a realization, and he it is the experience of the realization that is interesting. Um, he was in a situation, a life or death situation, where the lion was demanding that one of the forest creatures be sacrificed every day, and he wouldn't go hunting anymore, and it would cut down on all of the hunting nonsense, and he'd just have the food delivered, and they could all relax because it wasn't them. And when the hare was chosen, he had no idea. He was in a state of panic, of course, and all of his friends and family and the rest of the rabbits and other forest creatures were, well, you've got to go. You're the one that got picked, and that's just the way it is. If we don't, he's going to come in here and he's going to, run rampant over us, and there will be a lot of violence and killing. So it's sorry, but you got to go. So this was it. How is he, where would you think his mind would be? His mind was, as Harry would say, brainstorming, but not with any control. It was panic. It was I'm about to die. I go down to see the lion, and that's the end of my life. How can I get out of this? Help me. One answer. Where are you? Come on, thoughts. And get me out. And he went quiet. And as soon as he went quiet, the answer came to him, and it was a memory, advice that his grandfather had given him long ago when he was a little bunny. And, it was just what had happened to him, actually. Go quiet, and the answer you seek will appear. And that's 3P. And he did it. He went into the quiet space, and the answer came. His solution came. And it was a brilliant little plan. And we'll wait till we hear the story, to see how it plays out. But it worked. And another thing that is, a great demonstration of the three principles is the concept of separate realities, how we are all in our own illusion created by our own thoughts. And this is demonstrated so well by the solution that the bunny found, and the separate realities demonstrated by the lion, and all who were involved in the process. So I'm not giving it all away. We're going to have to listen and see if we can come up with what I'm talking about. But definitely, he went inside. The answer came from inside, and it was an answer that had to do with separate realities, or maybe better phrase, separate illusions. So I that's my intro here.
And the bunny, when he went into the quiet, and as Jim says, that's 3P. We are always faced every every month with some kind of situation that we do not understand or see the answer to. And what is a miracle is that the answer is there. Even though the outside says it's impossible. And this bunny rabbit, this hare, had the wisdom to access his own wisdom. And he saw an idea, a hope. And then with the help of the spirit and the help of whatever it was that he had within himself, it worked out. Not thousands, hundreds of times I have been in that situation personally. And each time it has worked out. If, as Jim says, you don't panic. And the panic takes you away and gets you into the distress. Gerwin happens to teach this story in Naka Valley. What do you see from the story, and what have you seen that the young kids, young students have enjoyed about this story, Gerwin? Sherwin, excuse me, I apologize.
Yeah, so hello everyone, and thanks for the flow. I hope that I'm clearly audible. So, yeah, the story is really interesting as the young people enjoy it a lot. The first thing is that the students tend to enjoy this story because of the cleverness of the hare, as it highlights the idea that intelligence and wit can outsmart physical strength or dominance. So most of times you find at school you can have people who are bullying others, believing that their physical strength is everything that they need in order to rule over other people. But with this story, the students understand that intelligence is more important than physical strength. And also, the story resonates well with the students because of its simplicity and valuable lessons, because the story is very simple to understand and it also has these valuable lessons. So it also teaches the students some important life values like problem solving skills, self-confidence, and critical thinking. These are some of the life values that students tend to learn from this story, as they are also helpful to their studies in the classroom. They understand that every time they're in the classroom, they have to know how to use their critical thinking in order to face with the test that they have in the classroom, and not to panic, not to kind of lose their self-confidence, because that is one thing that they used to lose. When they see exam papers, they immediately start panicking, they lose their own self-control, and all of a sudden you find that even those ones who had some clear answers, who could face the exam properly just by going into the quiet mind and use their critical thinking skills to get good results, immediately they fail. So with this story, it has helped them to understand all these aspects. So that's how and why the students really like this story, because it really resonates with them and the life that they are going through every day.
Great. I have a question. One of the things I see the line as a bully, and I know some from time to time there is bullying in the school. Do the kids relate to the story also about how to deal with a bully?
Absolutely, they do. And the way that they relate with it is to understand that when they are faced with a bully, they don't have to run away, because most of the times they used to run away, and the more they run away, the more the bullies keep bullying them every day, because they seemed to be very weak and that they could not defend themselves. They could not use their mind properly in order to face the bullies. But with the stories, they have understood that when I am faced with a bully, I don't have to run away. I just have to know how to challenge this bully by using my intelligence, and that I'm going to win this bully, because most of times the bullies just believe in their physical strength and not their intelligence. So that's how the student relates with the story.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, let us go into the story now. Give me a few seconds to set that up and let us hear this beautiful, very simple story. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Sahara Teaches What is Love, Part 4.
Part 4, The Hare and the Lion Story. Zahara mentioned that today she was going to teach one of the most famous stories for children in Africa. She said that even though the writer was from India, the children of Africa loved this story, and she hoped that they would also love this story. The story is called The Hare and the Lion. It is a classic tale which mixes bravery and intelligence while teaching invaluable life lessons to young minds. Miss Zahara began. Once upon a time, there was a huge jungle. The ruler of this jungle was a fierce lion. Every animal was afraid of his strength and cruelty. The animals had to obey all his orders, even if they were harmed doing so. In a way, he was like a bully in school or in life who bosses other kids around. He used fear and brute force to scare those who were less strong. One day, the lion gathered all the animals and said, "To maintain the safety of your communities every day, one animal will visit my den and be my prey. Eating this one animal will satisfy my hunger." The animals were astonished by the order made by the lion, but they had no choice. They had to listen to what he said, or he would kill all the animals at once. Hence, they were forced to send a family member every day to let others survive. Animals started to visit his den one by one every day. The lion was enjoying it as he did not have to hunt and work hard to find prey anymore.
Oh,
The hare's turn.
mm.
The animals were not happy with the decision. The lion was using his power and strength to intimidate the animals, but they all felt that they had no choice. One day, it was the turn of a hare that lived in the same jungle. The hare was sad and did not want to go. All the animals insisted that it would make the lion furious. The hare was not ready to give his life that easily. At first, he got very worried, but remembered his wise grandfather Hare, who had told him to calm down inside himself. When he was over-worried, he let all his negative thoughts drift away and found a hopeful feeling inside himself. Finally, after his mind quieted down, he made a clever plan, and it included not appearing in the lion's den that day. The lion was furious and roared in anger, just as all bullies do when others do not follow their threats or loud commands. The hare bravely arrived the next day with his story, hoping to fool the lion. Seeing him near the den's entry, the lion roared in anger and asked why he.
The lion was furious and roared in anger. just as all bullies do when others do not follow their threats or loud commands. The hare bravely arrived the next day with his story, hoping to fool the lion. Seeing him near the den's entry, the lion roared in anger and asked why he did not come yesterday. The hare expressed as sweetly as he could, "I was on my way, my lord. I was happy to be your meal, but I was chased down by another lion near the well in the jungle. I saved my life yesterday." The lion explained, "What? Is there another lion in my territory? How dare he? Show me where he lives and I will kill him." The hare pretended to be frightened and said, "Yes, my lord, I will take you there." The hare took the lion near the well in the jungle. He told the lion hides in this well, my lord." The lion peeked in the well. The well was not dry, and the water in it was still. He saw his own reflection and thought it was the other lion. The lion roared instantly. The reflection roared back, but in a deeper voice due to the well. He roared again and warned the lion inside the well. The lion inside the well roared back. "Ah!" The king or the lion became impatient and jumped into the well to kick the other one. He did not know how to swim and drowned. The hare, with his clever plan, saved all the animals and himself because he had outsmarted the mean but stupid lion. Hare explained to the class, the lion was proud of his strength. The hare was a small animal, but smarter than the lion. He could outthink the lion. This is a story of hope. Even when it seems there is no good answer, if you go into your quiet mind or calm mind and be patient, a good idea will pop up. By not giving up, the hare or rabbit was confident in his own ability to find a solution to what appears to be an unsolvable problem. Life works out when we calm our mind down. Life does not work out when we let our hopelessness, sadness, and despair control our life. After telling this story to the young students, Hare asked the following questions and had a wonderful discussion with the questioning students. Question 1, there are always bullies in life or others who want to make you afraid. Being afraid will not solve the problem. Is that true or not true? 2, how was the lion a fool? Question 3, how did the hare come up with the good idea to fool the lion? Okay, let me get screen share off, wherever that is. Stop share. Okay. Technical glitch, Jim. And
Yeah.
yeah. What should you
What a
say?
save. What a save.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautifully read.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like the story, eh? You know,
Sure.
yeah,
Keep
of
your
all
cool.
of all things. I guess I had too many windows open. Okay. Yeah. So Jim and Gerwin, I will not answer this question. I'll let the two of you talk. There are always bullies in life or others who want to make you afraid. That is the power of a bully, in my opinion. They use fear like Donald Trump uses to make people afraid. Being afraid will not solve the problem. Is that true or not true, Jim?
Well, that's true. The solution is not fear, but fear is something that can stimulate us to recognize the problem. There's certain awareness there that happens when we have that feeling, but no, it's not the solution. It's just a signal that a solution is, would be nice here. A solution is required here. That's basically, the answer.
And you have to throw away the fear to actually see the solution.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
In short, yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Shervin? How do you that being afraid will not solve the problem? Is that true or not true in your mind, Shervin?
Yeah, in my mind, I believe that that is not true. Because when we have fear, it just means that we are going to give the bully more power over us to keep bullying us. So we just have to make sure that we channel this fear and try to transform it into courage, just as the Hare had done, so that we can see how we can try to face this situation. Because the more that we fear or run away, so the people will keep bullying us. But all it takes is just to have the courage, and then we can face the challenge, and we can get ourselves into safety and to save ourselves from the bullies.
Yeah, that is very true, Sherwin. One time, Sherwin, I worked for a man, very powerful man, and he managed his company by fear. And I would come into his office, and I was not afraid of him. And he would practice with his fear thoughts to make me afraid. And he would call me in, and I would within 30 seconds, I would say something that would make him laugh, and he would go, "Oh, darn, I can't use my fear anymore because I have laughed." If you are not afraid and feel your own power, nobody controls you. No one. It is true that sometimes people are stronger or more powerful, but that does not mean they control who you are. And you have found, Sherwin, that you have had to face your own fear as a teacher. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely.
All teachers have to face that from time to time. And yet, when you go in with love, it the class turns into magic. And I love love. Okay. So I feel that fear is the biggest problem in the world. I feel that fear is what governs most people in their lives. And the reason people like the three principles is because they give up fear. And the moment you give up fear, you step into love, loving God and loving yourself. Okay. Question 2. You see, Sherwin, when I said I wouldn't talk, you notice how I have honored that. Yeah, it's a joke. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, big talker, eh? Yeah. Okay. How was the line a fool? Go ahead, and anybody else can answer as well. Please do.
Yeah, so I think the lion was a fool because the lion underestimated the hare. So that was one of the biggest mistakes of the lion. So because the lion believed that the hare can't do anything that can harm him, so he underestimated the hare and ended up falling into the trap of the hare. So that's what made the lion to be a fool. So the greatest lesson here in the story that when we are sharing with the students is to always remember not to underestimate someone, because we never know what is going in their mind, what they are thinking. We might see someone looking like weak, yet in the mind they are stronger than us, yet in their thoughts they are stronger than us. And when we underestimate them, then we will end up in big trouble, because for them, these kind of people tend to do things quietly in their mind without kind of boasting around about what they're thinking or what is going in their mind. So they just keep calm, think about a situation, and think clearly how they're going to get out of a situation without even letting other people see it from the inside of them. And that's what the Hare did.
Beautiful, beautiful. You have anything to add to that, Jim?
I do not.
Okay. It it is a very interesting phenomenon in life that often the person who is the most boisterous or the loudest gets the most fanfare and applause. And then when you see the person 5 years later, you notice that they are not necessarily had the best of lives, and that a person who is quiet has had a lot of common sense and has developed into having a good life. Never underestimate anybody, because what we have found in 3P is that a person can be at a level of consciousness 1 minute, have an insight, and the next moment they are wiser than you are. They have more to share about how to live in a beautiful life. They have common sense. And the Hare had a lot of common sense. That was another word, Jervin, that Sydney Banks used for truth. He said, truth is common sense. But he says there's not a lot of common sense in the world. And when you see the beauty in other people, the wisdom in other people, you start to use God's energy, not just your own thoughts. And at the same time, once you learn to see the beauty in other people, it's like a mirror reflection. It endorses the beauty in you. So what you are seeing is a mirror of what you are feeling. And if you could see that the other people have something to share, love, you will feel the love inside yourself. And the moment you feel the love inside yourself, you're free, no matter what your circumstances are. And that is the power of the three principles. It takes you to the truth, the common sense that you need, not only to live in a spiritual world according to God, but to live as a human being in this world with common sense, being able to handle difficult situations, being able to overcome your fears in your head. It's always in your head, always there. And that has to be seen. In the old days, Jerwin, there were warriors in Africa. And the true warriors in Africa were the ones who understood that the battle was inside with their own mind. And the own mind, this ego mind, loves fear. The ego mind loves insecurity. The ego mind feeds on that and sends that out. But the warrior would push it away and get connected to the Mother Earth, connected to the spirit. And they would be proud of who they are, confident in who they are. But they did not expect when they went out into the jungle and different places that everything would work out. They understood that they were part of the process of solving the problem that life presents. The rabbit was the high one in this story. The lion was the fool. That is the way of life. There are going to be people telling you, don't do this. You can't do this. It's impossible to do this. It's no harm in listening to them, But in the end, it's your own decision. And Jerwin, my whole life has been that I feel I've been the rabbit and that everybody else is the hare, is the lion, telling me what to do, how to live my life. And while I had to listen to them and find my own doubts, I found something very simple. Harry just had to be himself, and then everything would be okay. That's what I did. I just sort of relaxed, confident in my own abilities, and recognized, as you have stated so eloquently, Shervin, that I could solve my own problems, no matter what they are. So, anyone else have anything to say about that? Patty, is your connection any good? Patty also teaches at Success Roots School. Are you there, Patty?
Yes, I'm there.
Oh, good connection today. Great.
Thank you. I'm very, very happy to join the meeting today. And I'm also happy because I can be heard by everyone. I've got everything and how the meeting was going on and the question put about fear and also on the mistake that the lion made. I was very, very, very excited of the sharing from Javin and everyone and from Hare. Let me first thank the program of 3 principles to be in Africa, because this is a very big change into my life and the life of many around us here. Since I started following the teachings and the principles within, my life is a change. I may say myself, I'm a change. And when the question was about fear, I wanted to say something, but I was just waiting for a place to have something to share about fear in somebody. So I think fear is something very bad in people's life today. It's a very big curse that is in every person today in the world. And that's causing a lot of harms and troubles around people. You know, when someone fears, it means that person has a problem of love. You know, fear will never bring love to somebody. You know, when you have fear, you doubt of everything. Even when a person loves you, as long as you have fear in you, you cannot trust that person because you are trying to doubt of everything. Maybe someone was planning something good for you, but as long as you fear, immediately things will be messed up. I have an example. I experienced something one time. I used to fear a dog. Whenever I meet a dog, I could fear it, knowing that it may harm me. Yet a dog cannot harm somebody without any problem. And then I realized something from a dog, that a dog could know that I fear it. Since when I pass beside it, it has to bark after me. But I met a person who told me, no, never fear a dog. A dog is a friendly animal. So when you present fear in you, a dog knows exactly there is a connection that this person hates me, this person fears me. So make sure one day you just try to pass freely without thinking anything bad about the dog. And you see whether it will react badly. And then I tried to do so, and the dog did not do anything, which was very, very, very good. And I was very happy for that. So therefore, fear is something very, very bad. And it's a very big curse. And if we don't reach to achieve something, it's because of fear. And the time I met my mentors, Yaya, I think Yaya and Asumuni, I had a question to ask them about fear, because I had fear as I started my community center, Goodwill. I could fear a lot see how I can start it. What can I do? How can I achieve about it? And I had to put them questions. I'm feeling this. I have a negative feeling on starting my own community center. So what can I do? Why am I getting fear? I'm feeling like I cannot achieve anything since I have nothing. But they told me the courage and the boldness you have in you, the knowledge you have in you can make you reach everywhere you are. You first have to believe in yourself and cast out fear. Take your positive thoughts and try to seek advice from people who have succeeded from what you want to do and go forward. It's really helped me. That's where I started realizing that there is power within three principles.
You're right, Patty. When you face your fear and show it for what it is, you pop through to becoming more powerful in wisdom.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have to face your fear. There is going to be fear, but you have to face it. You know, Patty, the thing that I was the most afraid of was that I would be going to visit my teacher, Sidney Banks, and all he had for me was beautiful love. But I was always afraid to drive down his driveway to see him. And it took all the courage I had to face all that love. And when I finally had the courage to drive my car down this long road to see him, all I felt was wonder. Oh, fantastic, beautiful. And yet, everything in my mind said, you are afraid, don't do it. And I would face that. It's so simple, obviously. If you to drive into a man who loves you and is so wise is a wonderful experience. That's what I was afraid of. You can be afraid of a wonderful experience awaiting you. And when you face the fear, you know it's just thought in your head. And after that experience, Jim, I could phone any president of any company, because if I could face Sidney Banks, they were nothing in comparison to the power that he had. And I could phone anybody comfortable because I had learned to face my fear.
Beautiful, Harry.
It was a great teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't mean that I was never afraid again, but I saw that when you pop the balloon, pop through the fear on the other side is something wonderful.
Sure. And
The Hare.
you realize that your thoughts are creating that fear.
Yes.
That's the power of thought, the negative thoughts. Negative thoughts create fear. They create negative emotions, negative feelings. And that's fear is right up there as a great explanation for us to learn from. That thing about going down Sid's driveway, interesting, because my wife and I had the same experience on more than one occasion. And we actually stopped our car, turned onto the driveway, went in about 20 feet, you couldn't see the house. You were looking at a tunnel of trees to go through, and stop the car, look at each other and say, do you really want to go here tonight? I don't feel like it. No, let's go home. And we turned our car around and went home.
Yeah.
More than once.
Yep.
Ego stepped right in. Negative thoughts stepped right in. Negative feelings were happening. And we had no understanding of how that worked. We were like every other soul almost on the planet. Very few are catching on to how life works, how those negative thoughts create that negative feeling of fear that has no validity except for what those negative thoughts provide it with. So we're lying to ourselves when we're afraid. And the word lie comes to mind regarding the story too, Harry. what is a lie? You know, I mean, uh, we know the word truth took on a whole new meaning for me when I started to listen to Sid Banks, because we were talking about pure truth. And that's a whole other level towards ask a question and and deliberately give the wrong answer, lie. Um, you know, there we're fooling ourselves. We're fooling ourselves. If we realize we've been lying to ourselves, we will get that great feeling and be our true self. But the rabbit, the hare, when it went quiet, and remembered the grandfather's words, and then a solution came to him. Guess what? The solution was a lie. The solution was a fake rabbit. I mean, a fake lion. And the solution was, you know, I didn't come here yesterday because I met this other lion. And so he's capturing, you know, his nemesis there in this story. And that lion feels fear for the imaginary other lion that is threatening his territory. And he immediately goes into the high aggression and I got to get down there. This is serious. He forgets about his supper sitting there right beside him. I got to find out about this. You know, so he's caught up in that strategy, and the strategy is one of playing with the illusions. Uh, you know, this is it. You got the wrong illusion, Mr. Lion. You don't own the whole forest. There's another guy just like you, just down over there by the well. Oh, he believes it right away. He's down there to the well. He's going to challenge that lion. And he's so caught up in the illusion that when he looks in the well and sees his own reflection, he doesn't know what he looks like. And he sees that other lion and he yells, and the other lion is yelling back, and there's a difference in the voices because of the echo chamber of the well. And so he's caught up in that guy has got to go, and he charges to his death.
That is what fear takes you, by the way, always to stupidity.
Yeah.
That is the state of the world when they are afraid. And
those thoughts come in. Those frightened thoughts come in. And then the resulting actions are just escalating the falseness of life.
Yeah. And then that people experience panic or overthinking, accelerated negative feelings.
Sure.
And Sydney Banks taught me there is no learning when a student is in a state of panic. Your job is to quiet them down until they are ready to learn again. It's possible. You could be the wisest person in the world. Sydney Banks was the wisest human being I have ever met. But if I was in a state of overthinking or panic, nothing. And in fact, he knew that. And one time I arrived, there was a work party at his place, and I was in a bad state of mind. And he came to me and he gave me a book he was writing, and he put me in the car. All the people were all around working, having fun. And I was put in this car and had to read this book that he had written. And somewhere in there, my mind calmed down. And then he opened the door and I came and worked with the people. The fear was gone. It dissolved, disappeared. And Patty, your story about the dog, I have exactly the same experience. That's a powerful story, dead on. There was a dog that I walked by every day to school. I was maybe 10, 11, 12 years old. And every day I would pat the dog, and the dog and I became great friends. Then one day, as I was talking to a person, and they said, that dog is a killer. He attacks everybody. The next time I came walking, I felt fear. And guess how the dog felt it right away and started to attack me. Not and all that was a thought when I didn't know he was that when I knew he was a loving dog and I liked him, everything worked out beautiful. But when I was afraid of him, same story, beautiful story, Patty. Wonderful, wonderful story. It really shows. Shows because the dogs, the animals can pick it up. They don't hear thought. They pick up energy. Babies are the same way. Every time I pick up a baby, the baby goes quiet because the baby can feel the love. And then I sing to the baby. And I have the worst voice in the world, Patty. The worst. But the baby loves it because of the loving feeling. The adults don't like it because it doesn't sound too good. They can't hear the love that I'm sharing. So remember, thought is energy. It's felt by the other person. If you are afraid of the bully can feel it and will use that against you. If you are not afraid of the bully, you might even help the bully to see a nice feeling. And wouldn't that be nice? Where the two of you become friends, or at least respect each other, and so on. It's the way of the world. The one with money, physical strength, fame, they are worshipped. In 3P, everybody is equal inside, everybody. We're one big family. We love each other. There's love floating through us. But when you're afraid or your mind is in a state of panic, no learning, no receiving God's message, no receiving the love in your heart. And then you calm down. Oh my God, there's a good idea here. All I have to do is say yes to God's good idea. And everything works out beautiful. Every time. Every time. Bulletproof. It's unbelievable. How about you, Mark? You know, what did you pick up from the story? Oh, you're in a house coat. Way to go. Mark, I love my house coat. Oh, it's so beautiful. Honest. That's a beautiful house coat, by the way. You look great.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I'm intimidated. I'm intimidated. Somebody who can come on and be so relaxed and casual. I don't know what to say now. I can't ask you a question.
Well, I was just going to hide behind my screensaver because I slept in, and Karen said, "Weren't you going to attend the book club this morning?" So here I am. Yeah, I love what you guys are saying. You know, it goes back and forth, you know, into the metaphor. It's all metaphors for not being afraid of our own negative thinking that might come up. You know, we might wake up and not feel that great, you know, not being peaceful. So we just let it ride a little bit, just relax and let that lion basically dissolve and realize that we've got this beautiful source of wisdom within us and quietude and we know we'll get back to a beautiful feeling, and you know, we just get up and keep it simple, quiet.
And that's why, Mark, people drink. They have this fearful thought and they act on this fearful thought. And then the only answer to relieve the fearful thought is, in their mind, drinking. And so they get the momentary relief, but of course the stupidity that follows from it and the guilt of falling into their bad habit. But it's all it is fear. They are afraid. They have a feeling of afraid. Fear is like separation. There's a gap between God and you. That's what fear is.
Yeah.
And lack of fear is there is no gap between God and you.
Exactly. We're afraid of our own thinking sometimes. Yeah, our own mental state or mind state, you know, and it's just realizing that it is illusionary. It is coming from the spiritual divine intelligence, you know, that the whole thing, you know, it's lovely
And
to
and
know.
and, and, the,
Yeah.
and the trouble is this thing never shuts up. You know, it's very noisy and has a lot of big opinions and always, I am the hero, I am the winner, I am the smart guy. And
Yeah.
I get and you know, you try to go to sleep and this ego, this mind is just yappity, 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 yap. But there's another thought system. Mark is alluding to the spiritual thought system of love, feelings. Jim would call it positive feelings, that world of positive feelings, which this thing is still yapping, but you just pay less consciousness to it, less attention to it, because because it isn't saying anything productive. And then when it fits in with the greater thought system, it's beautiful because you need your intelligence. You need your mind to live here and operate here in this world. But to use it wrongly by believing in fear leads to sadness. You will start to distrust yourself and your own ideas. And that is the worst thing in the world for the kids, when they have a good idea, but they don't trust themselves. The Hare trusted the feeling inside in a moment that saved his life. And maybe God gave him a little bit of help as well. Luckily, the line was really stupid. Yeah, and that is truth. That is the truth. Rich people can be very stupid. Powerful people can be very stupid. Harry can be very stupid. Because, of course, I'm part of the human race. But I do know that this thing up here doesn't seem to have that much wisdom. It just seems to be a lot of noise. And as that quiets down, or you start to hear the higher energy, the higher level of consciousness, everything changes. That's why Jim and I and Shervin and Patty and Mark come on this show to share a higher level of thought, of connecting on a higher level. And when the show ends, we'll go back into our ordinary little world, but with renewed energy. I can only imagine that the Hare had a lot more faith in his own ability to think and to solve problems after fooling the line. I can only imagine how powerful he felt, how lucky he felt. That's how we feel. Mark, Patty, Sherwin, Jim, Harry feel lucky. Not because we're so smart, but because we have the power to solve the unknown, the mystery of what is facing us right now, right in front of our face. And that's beautiful, because that is what the 3P does. It allows you to face what is in front of your face and solve it in a beautiful, scientifically good way. And the thing that I have seen with Jim and Mark, who are part of the team of 3P in Africa, as well as Gerwin and Patty, who are also part of the team in 3P in Africa, is we're all growing. We're all being blessed by experiencing more love. And in the end, it's because we dropped our fear. Jim had to say yes. Mark had to say yes. Patty had to say yes. Gerwin had to say yes. And they did. And they reaped the benefits. Share love. And remember, who you are talking to is a mere reflection of yourself. That is the joke. God is showing you. And if you realize a word that Jim uses a lot, compassion. You must have compassion for other people. If you have that compassion, you'll have compassion for yourself. If you don't have the compassion for other people and see yourself as better than them, then I'm afraid you're going to miss the boat. Other people may find you that they like you, but you have to like yourself. That's honesty. Honesty is the way. Well, having not said anything, of course. Yeah. So, Jerwin and Patty and Jim, why don't you wind it up? And then, because our hour is over.
I want us to talk a little bit or focus on feelings and being in the moment, being present. When we start to appreciate what we're learning, appreciate the good feelings, enter into gratitude for who we are and what we've learned in our life that brought us to this very moment, this precious moment, when there's 6 of us and whoever is listening in or watching in on Facebook and watch this video later can also dip into these thoughts that create these feelings of appreciation and gratitude for the fact that there's 3 Africans and 3 Canadians together in this room, sharing about the 3 principles, not knowing really what the hell we're talking about, but keeping the talking going because the feelings are changing and because we tend to slow our other thinking down together and share this. And as we share it, we're creating a vehicle, a vessel of thoughts and ideas and feelings that guide us in an exploration of the moment right now and may have lasting value for us and others who get in on this secret. The thing with feelings is they have their own language. And if we really want them to be present, we've got to shut up. And express the language of beautiful feeling, which is culminated by what we described with the word love.
That's why the word love is such a beautiful word, because everybody associates it with a beautiful feeling.
Yeah. The rub is that it's so rare in normal life to hear the word love. The word love has come across on this webinar many times, but If you're observant about what's going on around you, with others and with yourself, that I love you, it's hard to come by. That I love you that you express seems like you got to fight to put it out there. It's a struggle. What if, like that? Like, what if I don't get an I love you back? Have I wasted my feeling of love? Love is unconditional. We are giving that feeling to ourselves whenever we feel it.
Yeah. And love is a natural expression of who we are. That's the surprise.
Yeah.
It's a natural expression. Every time you feel it, you are already sharing it.
Yeah. And we've all got it. We've all got it. If you're in human form, you've got it. But it can be so far away from your consciousness. And then we find out about it, then we're changed forever in a sense that we've jumped into a new realm of consciousness of love. And then we're on our journey that's going deeper and deeper and deeper.
And that's love.
That's
you go
love.
deeper and deeper into love.
Yeah. And like I said, there's 3 Canadians and 3 Africans here. What a miracle.
Yeah.
Put these 6 people together.
And we're all one family of love.
Absolutely. That's the idea.
That's the idea.
That's what we're showing the most. The biggest metaphor here is, the 6 of us on the screen. So thanks, guys.
So either Patty or Jerwin or Emmanuel, you could say something to sort of respond to that, and we'll go from there. Any one of the 3 of you. But not all at once.
Yeah, thank you so much for the flow. So I'm sure that everyone can hear me.
Very well.
All right. Apologize for the darkness in our side here. We are facing the problem of electricity always in a Kivala refugee settlement. But also, let me first thank this program of 3 principles, since it has changed my life positively since I began learning from its content and its program. Changing the life of somebody does not require long time. Just as long as you are joining something important, you're ready to change your life, in few days or few time, you can be changed. Thank you for the 3P program in Africa. And apart from me, I'm sure that it has changed and it will keep on changing the life of many people, such as youth, women, men, adults, and even children. Thank you for this program. Also, I was having something to share about what my fellow teacher, Paddy, has said about fear. Fear is very bad in life. Fear is very bad since it can stop somebody. And in Africa, we always have some words of saying that when our lives has no progress, we start talking badly in about our family members. That my auntie has bewitched me, my uncle has bewitched me. Since you are the first witch of your life, you are fearing everything. You are not giving yourself that courage and let me say, the courage of affronting something or approaching it and benefit from it. Fears can mislead your life until you miss to achieve your goal or your purpose, and you continue crying, you continue suffering from what you couldn't. I can experience this from one of my learner more than once, that I was having one learner, and in that school where I was teaching, I was in the position of director of discipline. So I was used to punish learners such as latecomers, noisemakers in classes when teachers are teaching. So I was in charge of punishing those children. Now, I was unaware that one of those learners were fearing me strongly. So I was doing that service, the same I was teaching, I was having one subject in that class. So I was remarking that the score or the mark, the result that the learner was presenting on the paper of exam and other works, courseworks, was very poor. While in other subjects, the learner was succeeding strongly. So myself, I was not even thinking of that. I was just trying to blame the learner, that how comes everyone is succeeding from my subject? Now you are the one failing, getting 10 out of 50, getting 5 out of 100. What's wrong with you? Blaming the learner without approaching the learner and ask him humbly and kindly, what is going on? What is the main problem? So I ended by calling the learner and ask the learner, can you tell me please, what is the biggest problem which leads your poor score? You are scoring poorly. The learner sat with me and started telling me that, teacher, I have any problem apart from fearing you. Whenever I see you, my teacher, even in the road, out of school activities, whenever I meet you, I used to look for another way to run away. So I always be afraid of you. Whenever I see you, I see the way you punish, I see the way you beat sticks, I see the way you blame us. So my mind, my thoughts, my brain is just looking you in the position of punishment, even though you are teaching me. So I was surprised and condemning myself that I'm the base, I'm the founder of the poor performance of this learner. So since that day, I started advising the learner that don't take me as an enemy. I'm your friend. I started approaching the learner. I started creating some friendship with the learner, and that learner ended by scoring good marks as I was expecting from that learner. So since that day, I remarked that fear is a very bad thing, since it is bewitching the lives of people, even, especially in Africa. we are afraid of everything. Even to begin the program of 3P, I was fearing, how can I manage? How can I achieve? But since I got people who told me, just join, take away your fear, take away your doubt. Now I joined the program. Behold me, I'm profiting many things from this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Beautiful story and the truth. Honest story.
Yeah. You changed and learned so much from that story, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a great one to share.
And you became a better teacher because you faced your fear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
And
same.
you've grown in consciousness. That's what we're here for. You're fulfilling your life.
Yes.
And sharing your story, in a way, you face your fear and you empower yourself. Because
Yes.
every time you share a story of truth like that, you see it as well in a different light, in a deeper way.
Obviously.
And obviously, and it also feels good because you are helping Jim and Harry and Mark and Gerwin and Patty to learn to understand a little bit deeper.
Yes.
Fear is nonsense, but part of who we are. And some of the fear is bad. But if we don't get upset about it and experience it in a calm, relaxed manner, we are surprised that it is also a teacher teaching us not to be afraid.
Give me another lesson. I'm too happy.
Yeah. You know,
Thank you so much.
and that is how Sydney Banks defined love: lack of fear.
Yes.
Lack of negative thinking was his definition of love. And fear is obviously an emanation of negative thinking about yourself. And so we see once again, Harry is hitting his head with his own thought. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, that's a beautiful story to end this session. Thank you, everybody. Very good, by the way, addendum to the story, to the teaching, Jim, bringing it into the feelings of now. Very excellent. See, Harry talks and shares. Jim has a different understanding that is the same, but expressed, and it makes the picture bigger. And then Emmanuel gives the example to solidify it as one big family. And that's what we are. The three Canadians are proud to share with the three wise people of Africa, three Africans. We know that they are having a deeper feeling of happiness inside themselves. And we know we are as well. Together.
We're all privileged to be here.
Privileged. It's so cool. It's like better than the best movie in town. Yeah. We are the movie. Emmanuel is the star of the movie. Patty is the star of the movie. Sherwin is the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And we know that in Africa, people know about love. It is true what you said, that Africans have a lot of fear, but don't pretend you know a lot about love. And you have brought that to us. And Mark will tell you his life has been better since he started sharing in Africa. Jim will tell you his life has been better. And Harry found an audience who would laugh at his jokes. So that was good for me. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. And God bless. And we will see you next week for another very interesting chapter. We have 3 more chapters to go. And all of us are very excited for the last 2 chapters because they come from the teaching of our teacher. But they are an expression of Sahara. And Sahara has become a wonderful, wonderful metaphor for us to teach. Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Aloha, asante sana, and God bless.
Yeah, God bless.
Hey, asante sana.
You guys.
Asante sana.
Asante.